You are listening to Christian Audio's production of The Real God, How He Longs for You to See Him, by Chip Ingram. This book is read by Jim Seybert. This audio recording was produced in 2016 by Christian Audio, which owns the copyright. No portion of this recording may be reproduced for any reason without prior written consent from Christian Audio. This edition issued by contractual agreement with Baker Publishing Group, originally published by Baker Publishing Group in English as The Real God, How He Longs for You to See Him. Copyright 2016 by Chip Ingram. All rights reserved. Please visit ChristianAudio.com, Facebook.com/ChristianAudio, or Twitter.com/ChristianAudio to offer your impressions of this work and to explore additional titles. I dedicate this book to all who earnestly seek to know God as He is and long to reflect His likeness in every moment of every day, in every way. Introduction. I was 21 years old at the time. It was my first visit to Asia, traveling as part of an evangelistic basketball team. While in Hong Kong, we stayed in the home of a veteran missionary who captivated my interest. On one particular morning, he invited my fellow players and me into his study for a discussion. Although the entire room we entered was lined with books, one wall of the shelves filled with paperbacks immediately caught my attention. As he walked over to that particular bookcase, the missionary explained that he had a well-established habit of reading one Christian paperback every day. He had learned speed-reading techniques to go with his obvious God-given quick mind. I could tell from the titles that he wasn't just engaged in light reading, since I recognized many of the classics on those tightly packed shelves. He and I had already had several conversations, and I think he spotted a spiritual hunger in me that drew him to me. I realized later that I was the primary target of that gathering, for which I owe him an eternal debt of gratitude. He selected a volume from one of the shelves and turned to face us, looking directly at me. The warmth in his eyes told me I needed to pay attention to what he was about to say. My teammates were busy finding seats, so I wasn't surprised when he said, "Chip, have you ever read this book?" He held it out to me invitingly. I took the book and looked at the cover. Not only hadn't I read it, but I had to admit I'd never even heard of it. He accepted my admission with a smile and then said, "It's the best book I've ever read." I looked down at it again, determined to remember the title and author so I could read it when I got back to the States. But he wasn't finished. "Why don't you take it and read it during your stay here in Hong Kong? You can return it before you leave." I can't describe the specific reasons, but the character of this missionary challenged me deeply. I wanted to learn what he had learned and read what he had read. Little did I know that the book he had placed in my hands would change the entire course of my life. Later that day, I opened the slim volume and began a journey that I have continued ever since. Before I left Hong Kong, my missionary friend allowed me to keep as a gift what had become my constant companion during those days. In fact, that same book is still a regular occupant of my briefcase wherever I go. A single sentence early in the book had a powerful impact on my life. The author opened by saying, "What comes to our minds when we think about God is the most important thing about us." The book was on the attributes of God, and the author introduced me to ways of seeing the God of the Bible that I had never thought about, let alone imagined. Almost immediately, my prayers began to change as I realized how big, powerful, and all-knowing the God I was praying to really is. Identity issues and struggles with guilt began to dissipate as I pondered the depths of God's forgiveness and compassion. My awareness of God's majesty and holiness came into sharper focus even as I realized, as never before, that the God of creation was eager to be friends with me. This book is an invitation for you to join my journey. For some of you, the content of these pages will be very familiar. Those of you who have been exposed to A.W. Tozer and J.I. Packer and others like them will quickly realize how indebted I am to them. I have
Sample complete. Ready to continue?